Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Building a Dinosaur Theme Park in Lego. That's what it's going to be called for now, because I kind of have the name, but I don't really have the name yet. So, let's get into talking about what's going to happen this episode. So, planning. We're going to do lots of planning today. So, I am going to draw up a plan tonight, actually, which is, Thursday? No, it's Friday today. It's Friday. So, I've been doing a lot of research and kind of planning in my head, and now I just want to kind of put it out onto paper because I have a couple different ideas, and I'm going to go through and show you all of that. So the first thing that I kind of did this week was I looked up different zoos and different amusement parks and kind of looked at how their layouts went. I looked at different maps and things of zoos and kind of like how their layouts all flow together. And I just kind of noticed what kind of buildings they have. Like they have different restaurants and restaurants that are all kind of in a different theme. Sometimes they're themed, sometimes they're not. And then they also have, sometimes they'll have hotels, they'll have like games and things. You know, there's all kinds of stuff that they have. And I was just kind of looking to kind of get ideas on what they have. So I did that. And then after that, after researching zoos and things, I was watching like YouTube videos on zoos, which I didn't know existed. Like, there's this guy, and he's called, or his channel's called Zoo Tours, and he kind of goes through and he looks at all these different zoos. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that existed on YouTube, so that's cool. If anybody wants to check that out, go ahead, I guess. But the next thing I did is I looked up different dinosaur habitats. So that was kind of the main thing I wanted to do. Well, looking at zoos was really a good thing to do, but I wanted to get the habitats kind of figured out and look at what the dinosaurs look at where they live and what kind of environment I'm going to be building for each dinosaur. So I looked at the dinosaurs that I have right now. So I don't know, they're all like right next to me. So I'm going to have like 12 dinosaurs, and I looked at their habitats and stuff. So I'm going to be going through and kind of talking about what those habitats look like. So I'm going to do that next, and then I'm going to talk about the name of the park because you guys are probably really interested in that. And then I'm going to look at the whole overall plan that I'm going to be doing. So today is just more kind of like planning stages. Like there's not going to be any building yet. Sorry, but I really want to get the planning right on this mock because it's going to be such a big thing. It's going to be, you know, this entire table right next to me. So it's going to be massive. And then it's also going to take a long time. So I'm expecting to do this for like a year, maybe even 2 years. Just kind of have this going on for a long time. Just kind of, you know, every other day or whatever, be like, oh, I want to work on that, and then, you know, work on it, that kind of idea. So it's going to be a very long-term project. So yeah, that means a lot of planning at the beginning, and then later we'll get into building. So let's get into talking about the different dinosaur habitats. Alright, so now we're going to go through and talk about the dinosaur habitat. So I decided to line them all up again because it always looks kind of satisfying when they're all lined up. And I'm going to go through each one, probably not in this exact order, but I'm going to go through and describe where each dinosaur lived, or where it was kind of thought that they lived, you know, because it's kind of hard to tell when they've been dead for, you know, 65 million years or whatever. So let's start with the Carnotaurus. So when I looked this guy up, I found that he lives by, like, kind of in plains, and he lives always, or not always, but he lives by a water source. So like a pond or whatever, and he's usually by like the edge of a forest. And then I also looked up where the dinosaurs lived, like geographically, as in what country they lived in. So South America is where the Carnotaurus is from. Specifically, they found him in Argentina a lot, I believe. Now, the next dinosaur next to him, actually, is the Triceratops. And the Triceratops, I found, live in forests. Or they did. They don't live there anymore, obviously. They lived in forests, specifically the western upland forests of North America, something like that. But yeah, they live in North America. And then the Gallimimus is the one next to it, the kind of longer neck boy next to him. That guy lives in flat grassland, and he usually has a small river or channel by him, because a lot of these dinosaurs would always live by a water source, because that just makes sense. So that's probably going to be in the mock a lot. There's going to be little water things everywhere, water features and whatnot. The Gallimimus lived in Mongolia, so he lives in Asia. Now we go on to the raptors, which surprisingly, I don't know, I was just kind of surprised by this. They also live in Asia, which is really cool. They lived in the Gobi Desert, which is actually pretty close to where the Gallimimus is, because that was, the Gobi Desert is in Mongolia. and they usually lived in like hot sandy dunes, and there's some streams, water streams, again, more water next to them. And so I'm probably gonna have like a little deserty area, kind of like a, I guess like a mock-up of the Gobi Desert in Mongolia in the mock. So next we have the this dinosaur next to him, that one right there, and I didn't know how to pronounce this for the longest time, but I finally do. It's the Stygimoloch. So that guy lived in the foothills, kind of like forest, plain areas, whoops, and a lot of like savannas. They found a lot of Stygimoloch fossils in the Montana, was it Hell Creek, I think, which is very dry. It's kind of like mesa, I guess, or whatever. I think that's the biome name. At least it is in Minecraft, so that's kind of where I'm getting my information from. I mean about the biome, not where the dinosaur lived. And it lived in North America during the late Cretaceous period. So that guy will be where the Triceratops is in North America. Okay, now we have the Dilophosaurus, and he lived in very swamp, marshy, like kind of rainforest areas in North America. So I imagine the rainforest areas would be, I guess, like more like South America. So I don't know. He's gonna have like a swampy kind of marshy area for him. And what's kind of funny is when I was looking this guy up, the whole like venom spitting thing and the frills that this guy has. We'll pull this guy. You see how he has like these kind of frill looking things? That apparently doesn't exist. For the real dinosaur, it was more like this. He just had these kind of ridges on top of him, and that was it. And they didn't spit venomous poison, poisonous spit. They didn't do that. Apparently they just made that up for the movie Jurassic Park, which is odd, but oh well. I don't really care about the whole inaccuracy thing. When it comes to the mock, I don't really care. Like with the dinosaurs, Lego just kind of, did their best with the movies and everything, so it doesn't really matter too much. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of a funny thing to point out. And the next thing, we're going to skip the babies because they'll just live in their own habitats with the parents. I haven't looked up the Ankylosaurus yet because I don't have that dinosaur technically yet, so I just decided not to do it. But next to him is this little guy right here, which is, well, it's the baby velociraptor, but in my world, I'm using this as the, and I finally figured out how to pronounce this, the Compsognathus, which are the little compies that I was talking about before. That's kind of their nickname. And searching up these guys' habitats was really, really cool, because I found out that they lived in the late Jurassic era, and I didn't really look at the eras for most of them, but I didn't look them up. But this guy just, I don't know, just happened to find his era. So the Compsognathus, they lived on an island. So they lived on and I actually had to look this word up too, because I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the archipelago. So it's an archipelago in Europe, actually. There's only two fossils actually ever found of the Compsognathus, and they were found in Germany and France. They lived on these islands, right? And there was lagoons, and they're kind of in between beaches and coral reefs and stuff like that. So it's very tropical where they are. So they ate lizards and insects and stuff like that. And they were the only land dinosaur on that island, or on like in that kind of stretch of land or whatever. So they were the dominant predator of of that island, which is really funny because they're so tiny. They're they're really small dinosaurs, yet they were like the top of the food chain on that island because they were separated by water from like the mainland or whatever. The bigger dinosaurs couldn't get to them, so they couldn't eat them. So the only threat they really had was from water dinosaurs in the area, which probably wouldn't even have been that much of a big deal for them. They would have just stayed away from the water, I imagine, or at least from like the open ocean. And the only other thing that was with them on that island were flying dinosaurs. So this was the only other dinosaur, or at least like the typical dinosaurs we think of. Those like these were, I'm sure there were like big lizards and whatever on there, but like the only other like real dinosaur that was there were the flying dinosaurs, specifically like the pterodactylus and the, oh god, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Okay, so after completely butchering that name, I decided to look up what the actual pronunciation was, and it is the Archaeopteryx. The Archops. No way, that's a Pokemon. Anyways, So those were the only dinosaurs that really lived on that island with them. So what I'm going to do in the mock is I'm going to build a small little island in one of the corners, and then these guys will also be on that island with the Compsognathus. So that is what it's looking like for the different habitats for the dinosaurs. And now we will move on to the full plan of, well, it's not going to be the full plan yet, but I'm probably going to show off like some of my ideas that I was thinking about, and then we will go into the full plan whenever I figure that out. So I have two plans in front of me here. This is the first plan I came up with, and I'll talk about the second one I came up with. So this is what it's looking like. What does all this mean? Well, let's kind of go through and explain it. So we have the main kind of entrance here. We have the entrance. We have the S stands for shop, and then F stands for food, so like a restaurant, because I used R for ride further on. And so we have the entrance here, the tickets, and then to the right we have a helipad for like helicopter tours or whatever, and then we have maybe hotels possibly. And this whole design is kind of like the main area in the center is going to be like the visitor center. There's like rides and shops and things. BW, I will talk about what that means later. And then we have like all the main stuff kind of in here, and then the rest of the park is kind of, you know, protruding outwards from it, which is a very standard kind of zoo design. And I'll talk about a little bit about the stuff that's in here. I had like some vendor stalls and things, like, I don't know, maybe that's what I could put in here. All of this can be subject to change, by the way. I wanted to have like a tour vehicle station. Oh, this is pretty big for just that, because I have another one down here. Like, this is just a small area for vehicles, so probably like jeeps and things that we kind of like going out into the different pens. Not all of them, but like some of them. The more like peaceful dinosaurs, which are over here. So let's go to the corner of the plan where we have a kind of large ride. Oh yeah, I wanted to put like a petting zoo in here. There would be like a pathway in between the petting zoo where there would be like baby dinosaurs. And then we have this kind of large ride. I don't know what that's going to be, but some kind of bigger ride right there. And then there would be water here, and then the Compy Island. So I call this Cape Compy because I think that's a funny name. And then there would be like boats going to the islands and stuff, and the Compies would be there, and so would the Pterodons and the Archaeopteryx. Haha, I know how to say it now. And then we have this area, which is Asia, like the Asia area for the Gallimimus, which would have like the plains and the river coming through it. I want to have like fake mountains here separating the raptors and the Gallimimus, and then a waterfall into the river. And then we have the raptors in this sort of desert dune kind of area. And then up here we have the carnivores. So we have the Baryonyx, the Carnotaurus, and the T-Rex. And we have like a little pond for the Carnotaurus. And this thing, originally I wanted to have like a zip line between all of the carnivore dinosaurs, so you could sort of be like on top, and then you could see the dinosaurs beneath you, and then you would be out of harm's way. What I decided to do is instead maybe do like a catwalk, so it would be the same kind of idea, really high above the dinosaurs so they couldn't eat you. And then you would be looking down at the dinosaurs, and you'd have like this kind of bridge system walking all the way through in the different exhibits, which I think is a really interesting idea. And then we have North America on this side, so we have a little pen for other dinosaurs. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to leave some space for future dinosaurs, because this is going to be a future project. So I imagine Lego is going to come out with some other dinosaurs in the future. I'm hoping to come out with a Stegosaurus, a Brontosaurus, or a Brachiosaurus, one of the big long neck guys. A Diplodocus would be amazing. It's like a giant version of the Brontosaurus. It's huge, and that'd be really cool. And then maybe like a Spinosaurus, and I really want them to do water dinosaurs as well. So I have the water area. I can add water dinosaurs in there anytime, and then also I can add other dinosaurs in here, up in this corner, and then down here in this corner as well, which I'll talk about in a second. But we have a space for other dinosaurs for the future. We have the plains for the Stygimolochs. We have some trees in there as well, and then a smaller kind of area for the Ankylosaurus, a swamp for the Dilophosaurus, and then we have a bigger area for the other dinosaurs like the Stego and the Brontosaurus would kind of go in here, and then the Triceratops would be in this forest area down here. So this is what it's looking like. And then now I want to go to the second version, because I have two ideas, and this is kind of like, I want to choose between these two ideas. These are the main ideas I want to work with, but I just have to choose which one I'm going to go with. So as you can see, this is quite a bit different, but it's still very similar. So instead, what I wanted to do is I want to have all these kind of islands everywhere. Instead of just like one main area, I have like different islands so people can go on to different ones. So again, we have Cape Compy over here. And what's funny is when I drew this, it kind of looks like a paw, like a cat paw or something. So I might actually do that if I, when I do Cape Compy. And so we have their islands here, have a couple different islands. I was thinking of having a ride on one of them. And we have boats in here because I'll probably have the bridges go like up like this, like kind of like from island to island, so it's curved so that you can go under it with a boat. And then we have like restaurants, so it's food. And then we have the petting zoo on this kind of bigger island, and then the ride. So this is all one kind of big island. And then we have the main island here, which would have the visitor center, some rides, some restaurants and shops and things, and the actual like entrance with a ticket booth or whatever. These little islands that say ED are for extra dinosaurs, so extra dinos. So these are sort of the different areas that I can put other dinosaurs into if I needed to. That's what these are. And then we have this right here, which is the carnivore island or whatever. We have the T-Rex, Baryonyx, and the Carnotaurus. And I could split this up and put the Spinosaurus in there if I wanted to, or I could even split it into in half right here, have T-Rex, Spinosaurus, or whatever. We have that area, and then we have the North America side over here. So we have a space for other dinos, Triceratops, Digimoloch, Ankylosaurus, and the swamp for the Dilophosaurus. And so this is very much like smaller, because I feel like the space I had was a little too big. Like if you look at the Triceratops forest, it's freaking huge. It's like this entire thing, which I think is a little excessive. Although the scaling is going to be kind of weird with the map compared to real life, so I'm going to have to kind of figure that out. But I decided to go like a little smaller, which I think would be a little easier. And then we have a bridge connecting North America to Asia. I know that doesn't really make any sense, but whatever. We have the plains for the Gallimimus Mountains and then the Raptors desert area right here. And so that is what this is looking like. It's basically the same kind of design, except it's just more spread out. So I want you guys to tell me, which one do you like better? The many islands or like the one big kind of area? One big island, I guess. So let me know in the comments. I don't really know which one I'm leaning more towards because I like both. I like that this one is kind of unique, except the water is going to be a pain. Oh no. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that because the water's not going to be fun. I don't know how I'm doing the water yet. But water in general is just never really that fun to do. So that is a problem with that one. With this one, it's just very like traditional, which is fine. It's just, I don't know, not as interesting. Although this is interesting, so I don't know. We'll see what you guys say. Next, I'm gonna talk about the name of the park because, yeah, I have to pick a name. I don't want to offend anybody, but the names I got were not the best. I didn't really like any of them. I'm sorry. I did like Boyo World. Thank you, Jay, for giving me that one. Except a lot of people pointed out, and I was thinking this too, is that it's not really my thing. You know, like Boyo World or Boyo is like his thing, and it's not really my thing. Even though I am a Boyo, it's not really like my own kind of thing. So I decided I don't want to go with that. But in order to make that up to you, Jay, I decided to put this. So this is Boyo World. So I'm going to have a store that's going to be Boyo World. Instead of the whole park being named Boyo World, it'll just be one store, which I think is a good idea. There'll be Boyo Water, Rich Boy Gummies, and some other, like, you know, other stuff or whatever I can put in there, which I think is going to be fun. For the actual name, I was kind of coming up with a story for the mock. So what I decided is that instead of like the classic, oh, we brought dinosaurs back to life, instead I want it to be like, in this fictional world or whatever, dinosaurs never went extinct. So they stayed, and then humans and dinosaurs like were living peacefully and whatever, but then dinosaurs kind of started to eat people too much or whatever throughout the years, and then humans do what humans always do, and they hunted them to the edge of extinction. They're now in like an endangered species. So this is going to be kind of like a dinosaur reservation almost. So it's like, you know, preserving the dinosaur race basically. So all of the last dinosaurs on Earth are basically being imported into, well, one of these parks, but into the park, whichever design I go with. And so what I was thinking of for the name is to call it the Gentle Giants Theme Park, and then have it be like Gentle Giants, the Last of the Dinosaurs. So that, I think, is what the name is going to be, and I really like it, and I wonder what you guys think. Tell me if you like it, tell me if you hate it. Thank you so much for
for the suggestions, I don't know, I just didn't really want to go with any, and I figured just making one up myself was great. So, and if you want to be named after a dinosaur, or have it, sorry, I always say that wrong. If you want to have a dinosaur named after you, you can still have that chance. When I do the dinosaur pins, there's going to be lots of dinosaurs. I'm going to have like, 20 compies, so there's going to be lots of chances to get your name into the mock. So don't worry about that. That's going to be fine. And I also wanted to say I did like one with the stud's name. It was Alex's Amazing Dinosaur Land. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good name. But I said, no, I don't want to go with that one because, yeah, I just didn't want it. So, but it was just kind of funny. I like that name. And thank you again to everybody who commented and gave me name suggestions. So do that again when I ask for them for the dinosaurs, because that's going to be really great. And yeah, that's going to be really fun to do later. That's going to be very much later. So anyways, that is it for this video. It's a bit of a longer one, but I really wanted to get through the planning and stuff. So next time I'm going to choose a design, and then I'm going to make I'm probably going to have 4 sheets of paper and have them for each square of the table, and then just really start nailing down the kind of exact design that I want to go with. At least, maybe not exact, but like pretty much exactly what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? So I can always change in the future, but this will be what I'm going to follow. So that will be next episode. So thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next video.